Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to another episode of F1 Manager 2023-2024 edition with Mercedes Formula 1 team. So we're out here in Great Britain, round 11. We'll be racing in Silverstone. Last episode, we had a terrible race weekend. As we remember in the last episode, Sergio Perez had an accident. It was the toughest one yet, and Red Bull have announced that Sergio will not be able to drive this weekend in Great Britain in Silverstone, so he'll be replaced by Liam Lawson for this race. So we are now ready for the race in Silverstone. So the results after qualifying: Carlos Sainz on pole, Max second, Liam Lawson third with a grid penalty, Charles Leclerc 4th, Oscar Piastri beats out George and Lewis, Alonso 8th, Lando 9th, and Stroll 10th. This is the rest of the grid if you are interested. Both of the Alpines still struggling at the back of the grid. Somehow Albon made it up into 11th. Congratulations to him. Nonetheless, we'll now hop into the race. This will be the last race for Lewis in Silverstone with Mercedes, so let's make it count.
The British Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
Lights out and away we go. So we'll get on board with George. I have decided to go for a riskier strategy with Lewis. I've given him a one-stop strategy. We'll see what we can do. If we could, we'd like to get on the podium with him in his last race with Mercedes in Silverstone. George, he's going to try to stay with the Ferraris for as long as he can. This is a power circuit, so as you can see, the Ferraris are pulling away. They've got some pretty quick cars. Whereas Lawson has dropped down to 12th. Obviously, he had a grid penalty. But how will he be doing in his first race with the Red Bulls in F1? So we are in lap 2 now, in the halfway of it almost. George is already struggling to keep up with the Ferraris, although, now that I mention it, he got closer to Carlos there. He is now going for the overtake. Obviously, he does have these softs. He should have some kind of advantage, but Ferraris do have a better car. He's going through the inside. Will he be able to manage to pass Carlos? Yes, he will. We've got George into third. Now trying to catch Leclerc. We will drop down to neutral now and go on aggressive. We have to start to attempt to cool the tire. Yellow flag.
It is dangerous.
An Alpine with Sauber collided. It was Guan Yu Zhou and Gasly, I believe. No, luckily there was no safety car for right now. We don't need that. We would be, for Lewis's strategy, we would be hoping for a safety car later down in the race. Now Carlos overtakes George. We will keep fighting though, although we do have to conserve our tires as much as we can. Another yellow flag. A driver has locked up. Gasly got a 5-second penalty. Alonso locked up in turn 7. Lewis did pass him. And let's quickly check out this storyline. Liam Lawson fighting Daniel Ricciardo. Now, obviously, both of these drivers are fighting for the second seat in Red Bull. That will be an interesting battle to follow. But let's get back on board with Lewis. He is also now losing to Alonso. Obviously, we know that Aston Martin, McLaren, Ferraris, Red Bulls do have better cars than us. Somehow we always manage to get more points though. But looks like this might not be our day. Lando now catching up. George is dropping. Lewis is going for the overtake on Alonso. I'll give him some extra fuel and I'll let him deploy. And there you go, Lewis.
Just do the best you can. And think about left lifting coast.
And before... Yep. Lewis does overtake
So we have low on battery.
Alonso now in lap 7. We are in 6th. Let's hopefully hold our position, although we don't have any kind of ERS battery saved up now. We'll drop down to balance, try to conserve some fuel. I don't want to repeat the same mistake I did in Austria's sprint race. I am testing to see how does the conservation of fuel work in this track. Obviously for every track it is a bit different. But my goal is to waste as much fuel at the start as we can and then hopefully conserve during the second part of the race. Will that work out? I don't know, but we'll see. Looks like, ooh, there is a big DRS train now behind us. Lawson in 9th, Norris 8th, Alonso 7th, Lewis 6th. There is a big gap until Piastri up ahead, so the top 10 is completely separated at this time. Alonso overtook Lewis. As Bono said, we will not sweat it. This race is going to be pretty long. There's a lot of time for us to catch up to Alonso. Lawson now behind Lewis. I'm actually really interested to see how Lawson will do in his Red Bull. Obviously, he's not on the same level right now as Checo. We do have the DRS. Can we go on one push to pass Alonso? No.
Drop the lift and coast for now. We'll make it up later.
Don't want to waste the tire. We might actually have to conserve a bit with the tire. We want to make it to lap 25 for us to switch onto the hards. Then again, I don't want to waste fuel as well. Might just have to tell him to drive a bit more carefully. Lewis is the driver who I trust the most with conserving tires, obviously. So, I believe he should be in a good position, but we definitely need clean air. I will push now, actually. We will go on mode attack. We will deploy. I am contradicting myself now, but I would like to be in clean air. Maybe if we push now before the DRS, will that help us? Looks like it might. Alonso defending. Lewis will have the inside. He will pass Alonso, will go back to balance, but looks like the fuel conservation in this lap isn't the greatest. So, I don't want to spend too much fuel. And we will have to conserve pretty soon. But we are obviously now worried about this battle. Alonso and Lewis next to each other. Can't even see him from this camera angle. But they are side to side, wheel to wheel racing right now. Alonso has a DRS. He will pass Lewis now. Lawson closing in. If we could hold Lawson behind, that'd be great. George closing in on his pit window. Lewis has done a great job of keeping these cars behind. I have told him to conserve his tire a bit as he has dropped below the optimal tire wear level. And also this will give time for George to pit. He will have to... I want him to pit this lap or next lap. I'll tell him to pit next lap onto the mediums. I will tell him to go. I'll leave it on aggressive right now. Let's check it on Lewis. Lewis has been battling Alonso and Lawson for a while. Lawson hasn't been able to get past Alonso, so this has been interesting to watch all these cars battle behind Lewis. Because for Alonso, he has to defend Liam while also trying to overtake Lewis. So he's got two things to worry about. This is also why it is crucial to stay in the front of this DRS train. Liam Lawson going for the overtake on the outside with his powerful Red Bull. He does get past now. Maybe Lewis will be able to overtake him here. No, we'll go up to standard now. No, Liam Lawson has been let loose. He is now going to try to catch up to Piastri and George. Back with Lewis here. He is By the looks of it, he is making the gap to Alonso a bit bigger. Alonso defending against Norris. It would be nice if Lewis could stay close enough to Lawson to get the DRS. I could push with him, but looks like that won't happen. Maybe should have pushed a bit earlier. Try to get the DRS and escape Alonso. Alonso will now get the DRS. Yep, he does. He will now close the gap to Lewis. There goes George into the pits. Let's check him out. George, the first car to enter the pits. George is somehow in fourth. Oh, this yellow flag. Safety car deployed.
We've had a big crash here. Debris everywhere.
Should be put on the hards. We will put on the softs. We just missed the pit window. No, we'll put on the hards. We will follow the strategy. Confirm. George
Safety car, safety
might
car.
be in a great position,
Keep the
but
line
I
down,
didn't
sir.
see the replay though. Alonso is out.
Just try and keep as much temp as possible.
Safety car
Safety car.
is going to be ending. We will make sure to deploy and go on mode push. So, as we're going to be continuing racing,
Just keep the pressure on. You can do
safety
this.
car is ending. We will be pushing and trying to make up as many positions as we can. There you go. Safety car has ended. Max will release us. We are in 4th and 9th. We get back on board
So,
with
leading
George. We'll be racing from the line. Will Max hold us up? Someone just locked up. I don't know who. Stroll locked up. He is in 7th. He didn't lose his position though. Guess he didn't heat up his tires enough. George will try to stay as close to the Ferraris as he can. Sainz has softs, Leclerc, Verstappen hards, Piastri with the hards, Lawson's mediums, Stroll's hards, Ricciardo softs. Someone's dropping. The car has spun. Looks like it was Tsunoda. Tsunoda went for like 20 spins in the grass. Hopefully he's alright in there. If I would have, I don't know how many G's he pulled in that one. I would be probably vomiting in that helmet of his if I was in his position. George has dropped off of the DRS interval from the Ferraris. That was kind of expected, although I was hoping maybe for a better result with him. Now Piastri will be trying to close the gap with his hards. Lawson also closing in, both on Piastri and George. Piastri defending Lawson. Lewis, we'll check in on Lewis with his hards. A car just locked up. I believe that was Kevin Magnussen. He just lost the position. Lewis is battling Albon. Albon is going for the pass. Lewis has the inside though. I think he'll be okay. Lewis will be trying to overtake Daniel Ricciardo. We will back down onto neutral now for our battery. I'm gonna keep some for the crucial parts of the race. Another yellow flag.
I really did a big mistake.
Red Bull driver. And then the car just goes. In the end, just a helpless passenger.
Poor old Liam Lawson. In his first race for the Red Bulls, he goes for a spin and drops down from 6th to 17th. Oh, that one was rough for Lawson. At least now Russell will be able to breathe for a bit until Oscar Piastri closes the gap. But Oscar is on hards. It would be nice if we could escape him. And because right now we are dragging Oscar along in these DRS straights. giving him some extra speed. Checking him back with George. Oscar Piastri is giving George a headache. He's been on his behind for a while. Although it looks like we are ruining his tire a bit. George's medium is at 70%. Oscar's hard is at 70%. Interesting. We maybe push a little with George. Although we are on the perfect percentage on the graph, so I don't really want to push. Let's check in with Lewis. He does overtake both of the drivers. Yellow flag.
Now here we are at the final corner. Now there's an inviting opportunity there.
There was a minor touch. Hopefully we do not get a penalty. I have been running on the ala attack for a while. Whoops, but we did overtake Ricardo and Stroll. Hopefully we don't get a penalty. We also got... Oh, I only overtook... Or Lewis only overtook Stroll. Investigation is done. No penalties given. Thank you. Lewis overtook Danny Rick. We are still... Oscar Piastri is still battling George. He has ruined his hard though. So that is a good sight to see. We're basically on the same level with the percentage-wise, but we do have the better tire, or the softer tire, so better performance obviously. I'm happy to see that. Lewis is now closing the gap to Oscar, I believe. 7 seconds, let's check in on the last lap. Lewis had a 132.373. Piastri had actually a better lap, never mind. But then again, he is using DRS off of George, who is driving pretty quickly. Let's see, is Oscar going for the overtake? I don't think he is. He is just trying to, I guess, stay behind George. He does have the hard, although he is ruining it while behind George, so I don't know what's his strategy looking like right now. He does overtake George now. We will push with George to make sure he doesn't stay in front. You don't want to give him that edge. Let's make him stay behind. George, make him stay behind. There you go. Oh no.
Heading into Cops. And you can see how tight it is. And the contact between the cars, inevitable.
Okay, so George just crashed his car. He will have to pit. Happened with Oscar Piastri. Piastri is out. Russell looks like got a penalty though. And I don't think we will be able to serve it now. Hopefully we could. Hopefully we will.
So the stops are starting to happen.
Danny
now.
Rick also enters the pitch.
So just charge that pack. And that's it.
Looks like we aren't serving the penalty now. Virtual safety car ending.
Yes, the ending.
We will now go on mode push. Now neutral. Lewis Hamilton is in fourth. We are racing now. 25-second interval. 1 second interval for
Has been enabled.
George. Liam Lawson put in the fastest lap. And Kevin Magnussen went for a spin and also ran wide. So cars are spinning today.
This one involves Stroll. The opportunity begging to be taken. And 5th place after that.
So then Stroll overtook Lewis. Sainz, Albon, Ocon all pitted. We will still hold out. Lance has worse tires than us. Yuki Tsunoda went for a spin once again in that same exact position. Interesting. Max Verstappen has pitted. Will we be able to overtake him? No, he's already in front. That's just amazing how quick they are. Can't even close the gap to them. Gasly pitted. So George does overtake him. Now Lewis is struggling with Lance. Lance will be pitting soon enough. We wanted to pit, I believe, in lap 38, so we are also closing in on our pit window. I will adjust the strategy right now. So I did edit Lewis's strategy. He will be going all out attack. We'll be pre-pitting next lap, so you have to battle with Lance as much as we can. George has overtaken Danny Rick. We will drop down to standard now and try to top up if we can. I might have been conserving a bit too long with Lewis. Now, I am concerned that we basically lost time while conserving the hard. I wasn't thinking ahead. I probably should have already made the strategy from the beginning when the safety car did come out. But Lewis overtakes Lance once again. Lance still hasn't entered the pits, so you know for a fact he'll be staying up for one more lap. We will be pitting though this lap, although we could go for one more lap and then push for longer. You know what, I think that's what we'll do, but it didn't. No, it is smarter to just follow whatever the graph said. It will be quicker.
Box.
We already will be pitting later than expected. We will go back up to neutral with George Russell. Let's check out the intervals. Another yellow flag.
We've had a big crash here.
Yellow flag. Will there be a safety car or anything along those lines? No. Unluckily, no. Okay. Well, Gasly and Guan Yu Zhou collided, I believe. Anyhow, Lance Stroll and Lando Norris are now behind Lewis. I have told him to go all out attack to increase the gap to them. Hopefully. Looks like Valtteri Bottas got a penalty. Lewis will be trying to undercut both Stroll and Norris. Will they be both trying to go for a one-stop? I don't know if that will work out for them. Maybe we should have went for a one-stop, although we will now have brand new softs and we'll be able to race. 2.8. Good job, team.
So be traffic on exit.
Traffic on exit. That will be George Russell and Danny Rick, I believe. Yeah.
Let's start pushing them.
So George Russell just overtook Lando Norris and Lance Stroll. We will be now trying to make up the gap as much as we can from both of them. Albon with brand new softs until the end of the race. Danny Rick with... It's okay, we just have to have an interval of 5 seconds from the 5th position and we will be good to go. Lewis overtook or undercut Norris and Stroll. Now we're trying to overtake Sargent, and so he does. Liam Lawson up ahead, who will be closing the gap on Danny Rick. It is lap 40 now. Lewis has caught up to Liam Lawson. He will get DRS in this next straight. We will have to start going down onto balanced fuel to conserve it a bit for the end of the race. Yeah, I believe George can just stay on all-out attack until the end of the race. Hopefully the tires won't overheat and explode. But I believe we will be okay. Lewis will now be battling Danny Ricciardo and Liam Lawson. So I have given the instruction for Lewis to just go all out and trying to overtake both of these Red Bull drivers. Will we be able to do that? I do not know, although we will have DRS in this straight and we are right on Liam Lawson's behind. Hopefully that will be enough. We are maxed out on fuel and ERS, but the Red Bulls seem to be too quick for us. Look at that, there's a rocket ship, as George Russell stated in Australia. Still going for the overtake though, but that will not be enough. Liam Lawson takes the inside, but now Lewis has the inside. He does overtake Liam. Will he be able to overtake Danny Rick? Yes, he will. We will now drop down to standard. Still leave it on mode push for right now. But Lewis Hamilton is up into 6th now.
Just gonna need some lift and coast.
Lewis is now in striking distance of Albon, and I am starting to realize something. If Lewis overtakes Albon, he can easily hold up Albon and give George those 5 seconds needed to erase the penalty. So that's what we'll be trying to achieve. Yellow flag, both of our drivers are okay. Safety car, safety car, safety car. Stop, 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 stop. Softs. You stay out. This is the first time ever I stopped. I don't like to usually stop.
Safety car, safety,
Safety car, safety car. But we are... Oh, we just passed the entry point. Although everybody did. Safety car is deployed. There is... So what happened? I again haven't seen the penalty. Or the accident itself. Gasly's out. Did he just retire? Magnussen entered the pits. Who are those cars ahead? There's Guan Yu Zhou, Max, Leclerc, Sainz. Look at the gap. Holy cow. Wow, okay. So George Russell enters the pits with a nice gap to Albon. Yuki Tsunoda had a pit stop issue. Poor Yuki. He's been struggling. Logan entered the pits. Lewis, though, will pass George, I believe. Yep, serving penalty. Good, good, good. There you go. Boom, quick pit, quick pit, quick pit. There you go. 2.6 seconds. That's great. So, where will we exit? 10th, 11th. So lap cars are now overtaking the rest of the grid. Will we even have the chance to race? It's lap... whatever. They let the lapped cars go. So now they are racing to catch up to us. It is lap 50th or whatever. Okay, we are racing. We are racing. Mode push. Deploy. Attack. Push. Deploy. Let's see. Primarily we need George to catch up.
You can do this.
I will tell George to be aggressive. There we go.
The leader has control.
We are racing now.
Just show me what you've got then.
Copy.
There we go. We've continued racing. There are 4 laps to go. My fault. I still haven't gotten used to naming the laps correctly. Nonetheless, let's see how our drivers do. I need Lewis to just pass Albon as quickly as he can. Looks like we won't be able to... Okay, not as quickly as you can, but just pass Albon. We are not fighting the Ferraris. They are a bit too quick for us. So we will tune in with George. George has to make up like a couple positions if he can. That's why I told him, be as aggressive as you can. We do have the best tires on the grid, but Stroll, Hulkenberg, Norris all have softs still. Although we are able to all-out push, but everybody has fuel tanks of fuel. And also charged up batteries, so
Keep it up.
for 3 laps they might be able to hold us back. Currently George is without points, so he must at least overtake Lance Stroll or one car. Lewis closing in on Albon. Just you need to get that overtake done, Lewis. Albon has 42% softs, so we do have an advantage. We can push for longer. George battling with Stroll. He does overtake Stroll. Hulkenberg up next. 3 more laps to go. Will DRS be enabled? I'm not sure. I think it maybe will be in the last 2 laps. Hopefully. What is the interval like? We need to increase the gap to Ricardo for Lewis. We'll put him on aggressive. And we'll... Should I risk it? No, I don't want to risk it. I'd rather get stay in 5th than crash out. But George does move up into 9th.
Yeah, don't
How are the tires doing? I do not want to puncture though. That's what I am afraid of a little bit. But we must push, push, push. Norris ahead. There we go. We will drop down to aggressive now. I didn't see if DRS was enabled. Russell's up into 8th. Closing the gap to Lawson and Ricardo. They both have hards. Russell overtakes Lawson. Ricardo up ahead now. I will go on mode attack and also deploy if we
Just
can.
close to him.
Out of this corner, that'd be great.
So casing temps are hitting the limit. Yep.
DRS
has been
enabled. Let's drop down to standard. And we might want to just top up a bit with George. And we'll drop down to standard as well. And then we'll try to deploy now out of this corner.
Keep these tyres in good nick.
Understood.
Push and hold it, overtake.
Okay, actually, I just want to get past Ricardo. I am afraid of the tires just exploding on us. So, Lewis just overtook Albon. We will go back to neutral. Oh no, there he comes. We will go on mode attack now if you can.
Let's get after it.
You should have the inside. Yeah. There we go. Back up to standard. George closing the gap to Albon. He will now overtake Albon. Now it is up to these two.
Yeah, we just need to make sure that we don't fall off a cliff on that
I
time.
might want George to just defend. We'll drop down to standard.
Final lap.
Do I want to tell Lewis to? No, okay, that would be a bit scummy if I would tell Lewis to let George pass up into 4th. I will just let them race though. George has DRS going for the overtake through the outside. And he does overtake Lewis. So Russell will be in 4th. Lewis in 5th. In Silverstone, we do a great job in finishing 4th and 5th. Lawson in 8th. So we steal some points from the Red Bulls. Ricardo 6th, Albon 7th, Lawson 8th, Norris 9th, Stroll 10th. That was a good race. I'm happy with it.
Taking the flag. P5 Lewis. Well done.
Let's keep pushing. Great job with the strategy.
I am so happy about this race today. First of all, this is also the first race I believe that Max doesn't win this season in this save. So, are the powers starting to shift now? Charles Leclerc finishes first with Max second, Sainz third, George and Lewis fourth and fifth. Daniel Ricciardo sixth, so after a couple of bad races, is he now starting to prove a point that maybe over Liam Lawson he has to replace Checo, if they even Red Bull want to replace Checo. George up into fifth, passing Alonso, and also passing Lewis. Lando closes the gap to Alonso. Stroll gets a point. Ricciardo increases his gap to Albon. Liam Lawson has joined now the drivers' rankings. He's in 14th. Passes Hülkenberg, Bottas, Ocon, Magnussen, Gasly. Constructors Championship-wise, Ferrari have closed the gap by 17 points. We are now in an even more comfortable lead. You get 20 more points than both of our competitors. DHL fastest pit stops. We are still working on our pit stops. We got 6 points for George. Obviously, this is a team accomplishment. Well, we at least tied the Williams. So, we are back in our headquarters now. We have a week break now until Hungary. There has been a vote for the next season regulation changes. Change the limit for parts for the powertrain, so gearbox limit from 4 to 5, ERS 2 to 3, engine 3 to 4. Nonetheless, we also now, both of our cars have the newer upgrades. I will also, yeah, so let me go back to aerodynamics. Side pods, underfloor suspension. We are manufacturing them. I will also add, I believe, a chassis or rear wing. Yeah, we had a new rear wing come in. I want 6 of those. Driver-wise, I did update the ages by 1 for everybody. So now Kimi Antonelli is 17. We might be able to sign him next season. Again, we will have to just ignore the name. It's Kimi Antonella in this universe, and it's some random picture that I will try to change to at least a similar person. But yeah, now everybody is older. Same with staff members. Everybody is now older by 1 year. So a couple episodes back, we had a problem between Lewis and Bono. Well, it seems that now they have sorted out their issues. We are back to having them at a great affinity. They have no issues anymore. But obviously next season, their contracts are renewed. So next season, Bono will be paired with most likely George. Maybe I should leave him with Marcus, and then give Bono to whoever the secondary driver was. Talking about drivers, I will put up a poll on my channel for which drivers we should sign. But actually, let's see. Is anybody signed with 6 months? Does anybody have a new deal? No. So we could offer Alonso a seat. Yeah, none of them have a new deal by the looks of it. 2 years, 3 years, George 1 year, Carlos 6 months. 2 years, Sergio 2 or 6 months, Gasly 6 months, Ocon 6 months. I'd like to look above the overall of 80 for a secondary driver. Mick technically is still an option. We could give the seat to Mick. Maybe Nico Hülkenberg. Maybe Alex Albon. Ocon used to drive for Mercedes as a reserve driver. Maybe Sergio's let go. Maybe give Gasly a go. Oscar Piastri. I really don't want to pay the extra buyout fee. So we got a response for the regulation vote on the limit of powertrain parts for next season. Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren were 4, Alpine and Haas and Aston Martin 4, and then Sauber, Racing Bulls, Williams and Red Bull were against. But we will have more parts for our engines next season. That's good to hear. Oh, James Allison sent me an email. We have a short-term boost to our design factory. We might design a couple of parts for the last couple of races to see how it is to have lighter parts, but we will basically spend on now the rest of the year just working on next year's car. But anyways, that will be it for today. Thank you guys for watching my video. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys next time. of impact as of